Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you. It might not. All right. So there is some karma going down in this situation. And I'm hearing what was wrongly built is beginning to fall. So I feel like somebody here has really built something up, but it came from the wrong place and it's in the wrong energy and it is not in alignment with spirit. And this could be one person, but I think more than likely this is a couple. But this couple, it doesn't really fit the definition of a couple to me. I feel like these two are maybe married or associated with each other, but they're both showing up as like Mars energies to me within that relationship. So maybe this is a very competitive relationship between the two of them, maybe very combative, but I think at the very least, these two are with each other in order to be combative towards other people and in order to compete with other people. And they both are actually very selfish and very independent creatures within this dynamic. And that's the bedrock of this union. And it's not a divine union. God has not put this union together. And each one of these people actually, this feels like way in the past, they pushed pause on their actual divine path in order to be dealing with each other and in order to be building in this way. And this is folly, but I feel like they have not been allowed, but they've built for quite some time here. And so I think it's actually shocking that this is kind of like crumbling down, because I think for a lot of these people, they really never thought that it was going to come crumbling down. They really never thought that they were going to get called out by spirit or like get their comeuppance. And these people might really not believe in that because they've kind of gotten away with this energy for so long. But also there might be some kind of like solid delusion that holds these two people together, because both of them they have formed this union out of their own selfish kind of energy. And in doing so, they completely lack empathy. And so I think for a lot of you, this is a couple that could have started off as an affair. At the very least, it was built off of the back of a female's suffering here. And we'll talk about her in just a second, because I think she's actually fundamental to why this karma has actually started to kick into place. But these two people could have felt like they were a divine couple or that they were meant to be. And they only could have thought that if they have this very selfish perspective and if they completely and entirely lack empathy. Because I think from start to finish, a lot of people were hurt by their union. Like this could have started off as an affair, or it was started off to rub somebody's nose in it, somebody who didn't deserve it, instead of doing the right thing and having a conversation here with an apology, an explanation, but that did not occur. And so, like I said, these two people completely lack empathy and they can only think that this is winning because they themselves were in devil energy. So at first, they didn't receive the negative impact of their actions. They were just doling this out to other people. And I feel that they were throwing around some heavy hitting energy here, and they were doing it very flippantly, like without a care in the world, or they were justifying their actions here, and they justified it with their selfishness, their competitiveness, their combativeness. That's what justified this relationship. And now I feel like spirit is asking them in this karmic situation that they need to revisit their actions and the root of their actions. They need to learn, and they need to understand that they were both trying to outrun something here. And I feel like first and foremost, it's an internal wound. It's some kind of self-esteem wound, each of these people. And that's why they targeted I want to say divine feminine here. Now I want to talk about her. And I think for a lot of you, you could feel like you are this divine feminine, but whoever she is, this is a person who I think she's showing up to me as like healthy Danishta energy, which is very attractive. And they break some kind of a mold, and they have like, maybe a very nice body, or they move very fluidly in their body. But this is a feminine that's also the Empress. I mean, she's very well-rounded. She is caring. She's kind. She's balanced. She's loving. She's somebody that you can reason with, be fair with, have a conversation with. And she's in that energy. And that is what's kind of triggered something here, because I don't know who she's closest to. It could be, I think for most of you, it's this masculine here, but it could have been this feminine. Take this how it resonates. But one of these people, I think, targeted her first. And I'm hearing from a TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but I listen to like compilations, and there's this one woman that I like, and I think her name is the spiritual whistleblower. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure that's her. And she was saying that a man who feels intimidated by you is going to try and knock you down a peg. And a lot of times he will do that by getting a side chick who understands the assignment. And what's the assignment? It is to break you. It is to bring you down a peg. And I feel like that's exactly what went on here, because I feel like I'm going to start with this masculine if it's him, because I think for a lot of you, that's the way this goes. So this masculine wanted this like feminine, very like strong sexual attraction here. But he kind of feels like she's out of his league in some way. And it's like really igniting some kind of like insecurity wound. And I'm not excusing this, because it needed to get dealt with internally. He needed some kind of internal strength and a sense of fairness and a sense of empathy to navigate this situation. But he did something that hurt her. And it could have been to her directly, like he did something he shouldn't have done to her. Or maybe these two were in a relationship, or they definitely like had a thing, and then he cheated and, went off with somebody else. But whatever he did, he knows he was in the wrong. He knows that, because he knows that he needed to apologize, explain, have a conversation, make sure that justice is served here, that fairness is served here. But because he's so intimidated by her and he looks at her so highly, I feel like truly he felt afraid of her Queen of Swords energy. Now, Empress is the embodiment of all four queens, and this female has a Queen of Swords energy, but her Queen of Swords is very well rounded, and I think that's what he was afraid of. Literally, this man, this is such weak sauce, okay? Because it's like a weak man who's trying to posture as a strong man and then doesn't understand why things are going wrong. And it's like a weak man's idea of a strong man is somebody who is not vulnerable and somebody who is not warm and not emotional. And so I feel like that played out here in this relationship, because like I said, he was afraid of her words, and he was afraid of them because she might be very good with her words. Queen of Swords usually is. She might be very intelligent or very observant, and she was going to point out like very key things. So basically he didn't feel like he could lie, and he didn't feel like he could cover up and get away with something here. But most of all, he was scared because every single thing that she could have possibly said to him, or maybe did say, because for some there was an argument here, he would agree with internally. He agrees with every single step of the way. He knows that he was in the wrong. So all of that here, I think, bubbled up, and instead of dealing with that, he turned and he ran. And he ran in his Mars energy. So first I'm getting like ego defense mechanism from that. So some kind of denial or repression or projecting out his own, like, because he's trying to dominate in this situation. So he would be like, yeah, she's just going to yell at me, and it's because she just wants to dominate me. In reality, he more than earned this yelling. And actually what Spirit is showing here is that this argument is necessary. It's a very purifying, cleansing argument, and it restores the justice in this relationship. It restores the balance here. But instead he turned and he ran from that situation. And I genuinely feel, this is wild, but I feel like everything that he's built, and he's built for a while, I think, because I think for a lot of you, there's a family here. Every single thing that he has like built off of his path, it's because he's trying to outrun this conversation with this woman that needs to occur. It's like, that's all he needed to do. And instead he went, and I think what he did was he went and got a woman, or found a woman that was under his control, that he knew that he could control. Because this is a man who's, I think, strategic or manipulative. He has certain like tactics or skills in relationships. So he's not dealing with this from his heart space in relationships, because he has low self-esteem. And so that's a weakness that needs to get ironed out. I feel like that's the entire weakness of like this entire reading. But he went and he got this woman that he had some kind of control over, and I don't think he's nice to her either. I think he like makes her cry, and then I think he paraded her in front of this Empress woman that he should have been apologizing to, and it's because something about her either breaks the mold, so she could be very attractive, or she could be very rich or something, but something about her and him parading her around and like having this control, and the onlookers not having the truth about the situation, about him, about her, about why this is all going on emotionally and psychologically, was meant to, I think, start like be combative. It was a flick in the face. It was meant to start an argument, but this is not a purifying argument. This is a pissant argument. This is a weak little worm argument is what this is. This is also a man, like hearing somebody like me say that, it shows this is a person who they're very self-absorbed, right? So, and they lack empathy. And they're showing me it's like one rule for me, another rule for thee. So again, this is a man here, and I think possibly a woman as well. They just throw around these heavy hitting energies. Like this is an affair, or this is, it's Mars energy. Mars rules over the blood. It rules over the body. It rules over cuts. It rules over war. It rules over heavy stuff. But this is also like maybe scorpionic energy. If this was like an affair or something, that rules over, deadly diseases and schmegs and power dynamics and money after marriage, death, transformations, trauma. It rules over these huge energies that this guy at the very least, and I think this woman that he's attached himself to, they are just throwing that around flippantly and without a care in the world because they lack empathy. But the moment you say, this is depraved behavior, knock it off, they're like, ouch, you hurt my feelings. And that's basically essentially a narcissistic injury, but it just goes to show the level of hypocrisy here, where you're somehow the bad guy if you call out bad behavior for exactly what it is and you illuminate that the negative effect that this has had. A negative is, this could be traumatic here. And the unjust behavior, you're like the bad guy. This is somebody who would flip that around in an argument. So again, he paraded her out because he wanted to start some kind of argument. But also I think it was meant to break the dynamics as he saw them between the two of them, because he feels controlled by this woman. I think he feels controlled because he thinks she's better than him. He thinks that she's out of his league, and because he's projecting out his own power structure nature on her. She doesn't have that. She's very well-rounded. She breaks some kind of mold. And I think it's like the kind of people that he's used to dating. And it could even be like her attractiveness. Like she's maybe attractive in a certain way that he expects to be controlled by him, or he expects to be those negative Mars energies, combative or selfish, but she's not. She herself breaks some kind of mold here. This is a good person. She does not deserve to be treated like this. But he was trying to break the dynamic that as he saw it between the two of them, where he felt like she had all the power. So this is like projection energy. And I think he felt justified in that because he is entirely in a delusion and operating from that delusion. And that's what he's been building in. And that's what the foundation of his, I hesitate to call it a relationship, with this other lady, or possibly multiple other ladies. I don't know. But he was trying to, embarrass or humiliate or anger this woman instead of apologizing, accounting for his negative behavior, giving an explanation, possibly the two of them having an argument, him allowing her to judge his actions as being unfair, call out his control tactics, and that was going to lead to healthy Venus energy, something being ironed out here between the two of them. But instead, I feel like he did not repair this relationship. I do think that's affected his future here. And I think that he started running, and his running was building maybe with this other lady here, or just very selfishly and kind of strategically. But he was like, it started him chasing status, power, money. It didn't start that. His low self-esteem started that, but he started chasing those kind of blindly because he was seeking for some kind of higher ground in relation to her. And all of this is going on in the background, and it's not been acknowledged here. So this is what I'm saying is like he's built something up. And with this being Capricorn energy, it's like his reputation. It could be his image. It could be a business. It could be with this other person here who is also in their Mars energy. This is not a connected couple. There's no Venus energy here. I think it's probably a very combative relationship because it's all based on control tactics. And really, it's a blessing. This woman was a blessing that she broke the mold of his control tactics and that it didn't work on her. He's confused by that, and blamed her for, he painted that in the worst possible light instead of what it was, which is healthy. Because anything he could build with somebody using the crap that he's using, it's going to suck and it's going to hurt people. And that's what's gone on here. Now, I want to say if this was a woman here that targeted this other woman, I think she did it using a man that she knew this woman was sleeping with, attracted to, something like that, because she knew that this man had some kind of control over this woman. And this woman that I'm talking about is like the Empress, right? That we're talking about. But I feel like this control doesn't come from like a low self-esteem place. I feel like it's because she needs to take her power back, because I feel like she is all of these things. But again, I don't think she throws her weight around, where like these two people maybe they don't have near as much weight to throw around, but they just throw it all around, like very flippantly, very willy-nilly. And so she's meant to take her power back in this situation. And I think she's done that. And I think that's why this karma is starting to unfold now, because I think she, in her own way, has maybe processed through the hurt and pain, but she's realized, and this is like not just in the mind, she's realized on a very deep level that why all of this happened. It all happened because she was beautiful, maybe because she was progressing, because people thought that she was better than them. And it brought out their own competitive nature. And that was on them, and it was not on her. Because I actually feel like she was in some very loving nature. But I also think that she was maybe holding some kind of boundary. But she needed to take her power back in this situation. And I feel like she has done that. And I think part of that is, this is probably a woman. I think she has really good karmas. Either she did, or in taking her power back in this situation, she's built really good karmas. And that's also like triggered the karma to start in this situation. But she, I think, just needed to understand that she didn't deserve this treatment. Because I think she takes on too much blame. She takes on too much of the responsibility in the situation. Well, maybe I could have been, like, that's her thought process is, well, maybe I could have been this, or maybe I could have been more that. And literally, you've got the two perpetrators of harm here that are in the worst energy, and they're not thinking about anybody else at all. And so she, I think, is kind of starting to see that or realize that. And so it's pushing the baggage that these two have back on their own plate. And that is what's triggering this karma, because she kind of, it's like they tried to push their shame into her in order to dominate. And that's what these people wanted. So going back to, if this was a woman that originally, I'm hearing she could have, like, I don't know who this woman would have been. She could have already been, like, attached to this man in some way. Like, maybe this is an ex, but she needs to dominate. So like when he started moving on with this other lady who's like very attractive and like breaks some kind of mold, maybe she breaks a mold for this masculine and his dating habits or something. Well, that triggered this other lady. She could have been, this definitely could have been an affair situation, but take that however it resonates. But also, this is a woman who could have known this Empress, like they could have been friends, or they could have been siblings or something. And so she was just waiting for an opportunity, and she wanted to rival and probably used schmegs or something here. But this woman that targeted this Empress, I feel like she's actually angry at a man. And maybe that's this man that this Empress ended up being attached to. But it could also be like her own father, especially if like maybe these two share a father or something. But she's angry at her own father. She could be angry at her own like husband, or there's some guy here that she like thought was her Prince Charming, wanted to be her Prince Charming. And I feel like whoever that is, her manipulation tactics either didn't work or stopped working, or he could have left her or something. But it sparked some kind of rage in her. And I feel like her emotion or her manipulation tactics were something like pitching up into some kind of emotional crisis. But really what's fueling it is just rage. That's the only emotion that's here. And some kind of selfishness. I think she's really good with her words, but in a manipulative way, in a sneaky way, in a way to try to gain the upper hand or some kind of power. So it could be that somebody here like was just over that and like left her, but she wanted to make him pay. And so I feel like that's when she targeted this masculine, however it is that she knew him. She either knew him through this feminine, or she knew him from the past or something and saw this feminine as like some kind of breaking of the mold. And so she targeted him because I think she saw their dynamic and wanted that kind of treatment for herself, and doesn't know how to build it for herself. Because I think she just ruins things. She just ruins the relationships that she's in, because she's not in Empress energy. She's not in Venus energy. She's in selfish energy. She's in Mars energy. She tries to control something until it dies, basically. Like, I think I'm using that metaphorically, but until something just like kind of suffocates, and she takes no personal responsibility for that. But so I think she saw the way that this masculine was treating this feminine, something like that, wanted that for herself, and so like rivaled. And I think she used schmegs, and he's guilty for that as well. So he wasn't who he was pretending to be here, but she did that because she wanted to see this feminine hurt. She wanted this strong feminine here to cry and to be controlled by this masculine, like schmegsually. And then like she wanted to control this masculine, and it felt like one-upping this feminine, because she doesn't one-up her in any other way, because she couldn't hurt her like this, except for like maybe through a man that she was like with. But this man is in Mars energy, And every man has to overcome his Mars. That's the masculine path, because Mars is the rudimentary sun. Every man is ruled over by Mars. Mars is a malefic. And so they have to boss up. They have to figure out, okay, am I the sun? Am I Jupiter? Am I Venus? Like, they have to boss up into something else. They have to get that Mars energy under control. His isn't. And I feel like she saw that, or she predated upon that in some way, but she did it to try to control this feminine. And again, I go back to that, the spiritual whistleblower thing of, we'll find some kind of side chick that understands the assignment. So whether she initiated this or whether he initiated it, this is a woman who understood the assignment of, we're both threatened by her. We must destroy her, but we have to act like we're superior, because they both want to dominate over this feminine, and they don't naturally. They're intimidated by her. All this is happening because of that, because they felt threatened. And both of them, I think, have behaved objectively badly. I think objectively in the wrong, because again, this could have started off as an affair, or again, there's control tactics here. It's very aggressive. And I think, like I said, I think this has led to some kind of family situation, but there's some kind of judgment. And it could be that this family was put together on the back of an affair. It could be this child was conceived while people were like with or married to somebody else. Yeah. And I think something here is being exposed, though, something that wasn't seen clearly before. I also think Spirit is encouraging these people, because this feminine, I feel like, is out of it. This Empress energy, like, she's somehow freed herself from this. And she shouldn't have had to do that alone. But I feel like, she did whatever it was that she needed to do here. So now it's, like I said, it pushed all these people's baggage back on their own plate, and they're having to learn something here. And there could be some kind of message or something that's coming out, or the truth is coming out, because there's something here about like Rohini energy, which Rohini, a lot of times it's like the favorite energy. It's the moon nakshatra in the middle of Taurus. So it could have somebody here, because Taurus is a very like wealthy kind of sign, and the moon is a sign of like family or, emotions, motherhood, somebody here. And it's this feminine that wanted to dominate over this Empress, threw a fit. Like, she's very emotionally manipulative. I'm getting that. She's not emotional. She's coming through as the Queen of Swords. But it's like she throws a fit, and it's all fueled by rage, actually. So she could have done actually some kind of spell or ritual here, but she acted like she was crying to get this masculine to like run in to like save her from something. And it could be, I don't know. It's because she wanted to manufacture this kind of like damsel in distress kind of a thing, but she wanted to manufacture a position of being the favorite. And yeah, there's this kind of, I think she could have played dumb here as well too. It could have even been something like, oh, you're so strong, I don't know my way out of it. In reality, she's the Queen of Swords. Like, this is all strategy. Something here could be coming out about this, that this was like fake. This was pretend in order to pull him over here. And what's crazy is he actually owes this other feminine an apology. He actually owes her some kind of care, some kind of sweetness, some kind of tenderness, the wound that he put in her. And instead he could have went and like apologized to this other lady for some reason. And it could be because he wants to use her. So even this is not genuine for this masculine. Like, he could have gone over and apologized, or he could have gone over there because she might be married to somebody else. And she said, oh, look, this is like not a fair situation, and set up some kind of like false thing. There also, like I said, could have been spell work done here. But I feel like the truth is in some way coming out about this, that this was somebody who played innocent, and this is somebody who played damsel in distress, and that he should have been actually apologizing to the real damsel in distress. But this is not somebody who plays the victim. This feminine that's actually like this Empress energy. She doesn't play the victim, even though she was actually wronged here. Yeah. So Spirit needs that to kind of come out into the light of day, and it might well have. And I feel like, again, this feminine has balanced out her energies, and then this masculine went and offered like this Knight of Pentacles energy to someone else. And all of this is just like running. And again, it's because he wanted some kind of prominence. I feel like he wanted some kind of prominence, and he wanted some kind of new beginning. And whatever this is, it's collusion. Like, whether or not these two were colluding together, or they don't have a togetherness. Like, I can't stress that enough. These are two people that are acting out their Mars energy in the worst way by pretending to be a couple, but there's no genuine union here, right? So they both could have been colluding for different reasons. So he's colluding to avoid apologizing to this feminine that he knows he behaved wrongly. And she is wanting something, wanting to betray her husband or something. So it's collusion energy, even like on an energetic spiritual level. And like I said, these two basically, they should not be involved with each other. This is highly karmic. It brings out the worst in both of them, and everyone around them suffers. Truly everybody. If they were married to other people, this feminine, right? Those people get betrayed and hurt here. And then their hurt doesn't get acknowledged in the way that it needs to. Because there's a lot of not wanting to look at the fallout of their actions. And there's a lot of justification with their delusion. And they think that this is something positive, them being together. And they might try to present that like we're a divine couple, like this is wish fulfillment. And yeah, that's unfortunate that all those people and their hearts and their well-being, that was just collateral damage. Well, you don't have that perspective if you've got empathy, right? You just don't. There could be kids involved in this situation. And both of them are extremely selfish, and they like to rub people's faces in it. So people are not being treated well around these people, but they're not looking at it that way. They're looking at all I do is win, 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 no matter what. It takes a certain type of person to classify this as a win. Somebody that needs assistance, right? So yeah, this was like some kind of betrayal energy, and they know it. And it's like the two of them, they're really scared. I feel like a lot of people here have not had their justice, and a lot of people's justice, it's literally like a conversation, like a real one, but they feel like they can't win in the situation. And actually there's anxiety here, and they get up in their head, and it ends up controlling them. And, yeah, they've got like a lot of anxiety, but then they are like, oh, I don't know, that person just like blocks me out. I don't know why, I mean, that was like in the past, but that person, and then they just jumped in with somebody else when really there's a cyclical issue here. Cyclical issue that requires further thought. They just keep repeating the same patterns over and over again. And it's devil energy. It's devil energy to try to outrun a mental pattern in their brain. And so Spirit has these people on pause. And they need to look at this from a different angle, because I think these people are only looking at things through their Mars. And these are, like I said, these are people that if you point that out to them, like you're being very selfish. You're completely void of empathy in this situation. They're in denial about that. But Spirit needs them to start looking at this situation through the lens of empathy and through the lens of the heart space, because that's how it's going to be rectified. And they also need to look at it through the lens of truth, because I think this masculine felt dominated by this Empress from his past, but really he was just dominated by the truth. And the truth is what needs tended to here. And what is truth? God is truth. And I think he's actually gotten himself into a situation where he's actually controlled by this other lady that wanted control over him in order to control this other woman. Because there's nothing this other woman wants or compares herself to with this other woman otherwise. So she needs to attach herself to a weak man. And I'm saying weak man because he would have to be in his Mars energy. And I think he's grown up. So I think he should be outgrowing his Mars energy. He should be subduing that and getting it in alignment with, he should be purifying that space and getting that in alignment with building himself into something greater than that. And I think the truth is coming out that actually this lady here put on a little show of innocence. And it was like to kind of keep him distracted, and that he should have gone back to this other lady. And because it's giving like a weak man's definition of a strong man, where he thinks that a strong man never shows emotion or warmth. And that's just not true. And so he's realizing that's the energy he should have been in. And that's actually the energy of strength. And instead he was like extremely lacking. He kept like some kind of functioning dysfunction, and he kept running away when he should have apologized. And it was like very strategic here. And again, I feel like he may have apologized to another lady. And that was strategic on both of their parts here as well, because she wanted his attention, but he's not apologizing her for a real reason. He's doing it to avoid this other situation. And yeah, it could have been through a message. And again, something here turned around very quickly. So this could have been a message that led to a schmegel situation, or maybe even like a trip or something here like that. When really it called for like some kind of strong internal strength to avoid some kind of temptation here. And maybe that had already occurred. Yeah. And so now I feel like this masculine is in a world of hurt, because I feel like this Empress that he really wanted the whole time, like moved on. And whatever that is, it's a happy energy. Like I'm seeing these two people in like the sunlight energy. Either she's already done that or she's on her way to doing that. Because I do feel like she's freed herself from this cycle. And like I said, she's done that because she's realizing, hey, I didn't deserve this. These people did this because they were in like competition with me. So he's seeing that, and now he feels very sad, and he's in hermit mode, and he's feeling like very alone. Even if he's with somebody else, he feels very alone, and he's having to confront his devil energy and his secretive nature here. And there's definitely, some kind of secret like affair energy, instead of clearing the air with this lady who he knows was going to yell at him, but she was his wish fulfillment, and that was going to lead to the Ace of Cups. And now I feel like he's very obsessed with her, and with somebody who, there's a lot of cheating in this relationship, I think. Like he's having to confront some kind of manipulation. He was in a manipulative energy, and he thought that it was something different than it was, but it's because he was in denial, and he was running away from the truth. So again, I'm hearing what was wrongly built is beginning to fall. So all of this was like very wrongly built, and both of these people, in order to be dealing with each other, pushed pause on their like actual divine path, is what I'm getting. And then they spent a lot of time and a lot of energy, maybe a lot of money and resources to build something with the two of them. And it was out of alignment with divine energy. This was not spirit that brought these two together. It was their own egos, and it was trying to outrun heart space energy. And there are a lot of people who are owed justice in this situation. And I think at the very least, it's a breakup here. And I don't know what these two have going on, because there could be a family here. There could be money issues here. I don't know if they're in a position to break up, but I think that as soon as they are able to do that, they are encouraged to do that, because this all needs to be dismantled, what they've built here. So they have to kind of clean up their own mess. It's like they got to suck the poison out of a lot of people's lives. And eventually that's going to lead them back to having the conversation that they needed to have in the right energy all along. And that is listening with empathy and owning their mistakes here. Because this lady here, if this man that she's upset with, well, she had a huge, especially if this was like a partner, she and her emotional manipulation ruined that relationship. They had a hand in it, and she needs to own that and have that conversation, and maybe let him yell at her. But she needs to own her. I just heard, I keep my side of the street clean. You wouldn't know what I mean. That's what that man is saying to this woman. You wouldn't know what I mean. And her whole life is played out that way, because this is a mess. This is messy behavior that I feel like these people try to dress up. But because this is like a hodgepodge, of things where they have to, everything has to have a caveat because they're not in alignment with truth. Yeah, well, but everything's an exception. Everything that they do is an exception, because it's just exceptional, or it's just, no, it's not. It's not in alignment with truth. It's like, well, yeah, I typically agree that cheating is wrong. It's just that not for me. It's something like that. And this man needs to go and have the conversation that we've been talking about with this feminine. He needs to own his own actions with the Mars energy here. Actions. Both of them do. They need to own their own actions. And these two, this negative couple here, they both use actions in a very negative way. This is very maligned masculine energy coming from both of them. And then they have a problem with words. They have a problem with other people using their words. So they take very negative actions. And I think both of them can be quite slick with their language in order to obscure the truth. So this is kind of this narcissistic energy. And they bring it out of each other too as well. And it feeds like within each other, where the truth gets scrambled. And what is the truth? God is truth. So that truth energy gets scrambled. It's the one card that they have to play. And the truth is that they were trying to, I think, harm this feminine schmegully, like make her feel second best. They were trying to subjugate her in some way and bring her, both of them, because this feminine wanted to feel dominant. Feminine energy is not hierarchical. It's more the masculine energy that tends to shape up hierarchical. But feminine energy is it's being energy. We all have our own things here. But she wanted to dominate. That's what I'm saying. Both of them have a very negative masculine energy. And then they use words to cover it up. Whereas I feel like this feminine has healthy masculine energy, and this Empress, I should say, has healthy masculine energy. This feminine, the man that she was attached to, I think had healthier, at the very least, masculine energy as well. And they expect the words to be used to tell the truth, to apologize, to rebuild the relationship, and not to obscure the truth. So it's kind of giving narcissist, to be honest. But they hide that narcissistic quality of like, oh, look, I'm chosen. Oh, look, like we have a healthy relationship. LOL to that. I feel like this is a very combative, very competitive relationship. They don't even like each other and they don't like themselves. And that's the only thing that they feed here. And if there's kids involved, that's a lot of energy to throw at a tiny person. And some heck of behaviors to be demonstrating. But yeah, there's definitely karma going on here. And I keep hearing it. What was wrongly built is beginning to fall. And I feel like these people are being asked to cooperate with that process now, because some of them are actually feeling sorry. Some of them are, I think they always knew that this was wrong. Some part of them always knew that this was wrong. I think they were genuinely shocked that they got away with this for as long as they did. But it's because there were other lessons that were being learned here. And on the one side, but also they were like, these two people aren't even looking at their own, like basically God gave them, they had so much time to like wake up to themselves and to be like, holy shit, look at me. Look at what I'm doing. This is so selfish. This is so wrong. I can't believe I've been justifying this. Like, because I feel like there would just be tower moments like along the way of being shocked by somebody here. Because they're both lying to each other and they're both in like very negative, very selfish energy. So the shit's going to hit the fan multiple times. And every time it does, it's like, are you going to wake up? Are you going to end this karmic situation? No, the two of them both out of pride and stubbornness and ignorance, like they just kept building and building and building. So this is huge. Like what they've built is huge. And they probably are going to feel victimized or find a way to feel victimized by God or whatever's going to take this down. When in reality, I mean, they've got nobody to blame but themselves. They had every opportunity to turn around and to start dismantling this. And to I feel like it seems so simple. They needed to look with empathy, look at the hard space and have a hard conversation with somebody, or just allow somebody to yell at them. And they deserved that because they know that they were in the wrong. So all of that's beginning to happen now. I feel like, something here is being like revealed. There could be some kind of like secret cheating or like a double life or that's being revealed even within this relationship. Yeah. Justice card just came out. The justice card just came out. So yeah, there's definitely justice being served in this situation. For a lot of people. Like it's not just this one lady, because it's the spite for me. It's the spite that they're targeting towards this Empress lady, but there's a lot of people who they just completely overlook as human beings. And as having like a heart and empathy and as being like hugely negatively affected by these two and whatever it was that they were up to in the beginning, because this was not a relationship built on the right things. But also their showy offy kind of competitive thing, like has hurt a lot of people here as well. So there's a lot of people owed justice in this situation. Other people that these people aren't even looking at. So I just heard delusions of grandeur. Delusions of grandeur. So that's being like popped in this situation. And I think for a lot of you, you're going to resonate with being this feminine energy that was really wronged in this situation. And so if you're still hanging in here, I just want to say good job. Because I feel like you, again, like Spirit gave these people a long time to wake up to themselves and to apologize and they never did. And I feel like you by yourself freed yourself from this cycle. And you had to realize, I think you took a lot of the blame for this, like internally. You like hated yourself for this and you were like, well, I could have been more this way, or I could have been more that way, or some of you felt like you were in the wrong place at the wrong time and that's why you got mistreated. You're like, well, I shouldn't have been there, or I shouldn't have, no, no. Like these people have taken none of the responsibility and they are strategizing behind the scenes. There was definitely like some kind of collusion here between these two. So I feel like you've recognized that you didn't deserve this treatment and that they were trying to hurt you. And it's because he wanted to feel superior and take control back, and she wanted to feel superior. And they don't have a clue as to how to do that in a healthy way, to feel just whole within themselves. So that's all happening now. And whatever they've built here, it is beginning to fall because it was not built in alignment with spirit and it's harming people and it needs to come down. So, and I feel like this will eventually lead to a breakup. That's part of the justice that's owed to a lot of people here, is just these two getting the hell away from each other, the actual literal hell away from each other. So that's what I have for you. If that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye guys.